A new road rehabilitation program begins. The International Business Minister says Barbados on no OECD blacklist. And the Senate pays tribute to late President Sir Fred Gallo.
Credible, balanced, committed. This is the CBC Evening News.
Very good evening to you. I'm Lisa Broom with the CBC Evening News. In our top story tonight, the Ministry of Transport, Works and Maintenance's road rehabilitation program has officially started. This morning, a team headed by the minister in the ministry, Peter Phillips, took a visiting representative of the Inter-American Development Bank on a tour of the section of the highway to be repaired. 5 roads will be rehabilitated. 3 phases of the Charles Duncan O'Neill Highway, West Road to Sir Frank Walcott Roundabout, and the Norman Niles Roundabout to the Clyde Walcott Roundabout. The program is being funded by a $50 million IADB loan. Representative Juan Carlos de la Hoz Zinas is happy with what he's seen.
We are very pleased that the contracting is moving because, this is something that is really pressing in terms of improving the infrastructure of the country. So we are very pleased to be involved, and we have been working very closely with the engineers and the technicians, and we're very pleased also to be with the minister today.
And Minister Phillips says so far everything is going as planned.
This morning we're here just to inspect the works and so on that is happening in terms of the initial works, in terms of the drainage and so on first, and then obviously we'll be moving into the actual milling and paving, which should take us till at least for this section about December this year. Then we're going to be moving into another phase early next year, and the work will continue. But we are really, really appreciative of what the IDB has done, and we expect to get other loans. We are aware that there's budgetary support coming, 100,000, which we were told about about 2 weeks ago. So the IDB has been very much working with us, and we expect that this relationship will continue.
Well, Minister of International Business and Industry Ronald Toppin has rejected news reports suggesting Barbados has been identified on an OECD blacklist relating to residence or citizenship by investment programs. Now, Mr. Toppin says the ministry is aware the OECD published an article relative to the abuse, in some instances, of the Common Reporting Standard, or CRS. Now, that's where individuals can exploit citizenship by investment programs. He says it must be emphasized that Barbados has never had and does not have a CIB program. He admitted, however, that Barbados was among several other countries whose high net worth individual special entry permit regime was identified as one which poses a high risk to the integrity of the CRS. Minister Toppin insists that this is, however, not a blacklist, although some media establishments have chosen to headline their articles on the issue as such. The minister adds that these reports, while false and erroneous, can unfortunately have deleterious effects on the island's reputation. He says the OECD report simply provides practical guidance to financial institutions on how to undertake enhanced due diligence on clients that are citizens or residents of the countries with CBI or residence by investment programs, so as to prevent cases of CRS avoidance and tax evasion. He notes that the representatives of the ministry who are currently attending meetings at the OECD today engaged with officials of the OECD, which published the report. The ministry has since been assured that the characterization of the list of jurisdictions as a blacklist is completely inaccurate. The Barbados delegation was also informed that a statement of clarification will be forthcoming from the OECD very shortly. We turn now to the upper house, where partisan politics was put aside as senators paid tribute to the late president of the Senate, Sir Fred Gallo, a man described as an ardent supporter of the Barbados Labour Party. Sir Fred, who served in that role for 14 years, passed away in June. Leading off the tributes was Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Senator Dr. Jerome Walcott. family of the late Sir Fred were present in the Senate to hear the tributes, and a moment of silence was also observed in his memory. Senator Walcott says Sir Fred served the Senate with honor and brought with him a level of fairness.
I can attest to the dignified seriousness and fairness which he brought to his role as president of his chamber. He would often interrupt members when they were in full flight and thought that they were flowing and doing very well in the debate, to remind them on more than one occasion about relevance to the matter being debated.
Government Senator Rudy Grant reminisced on his time as a candidate for the BLP and his interactions with Sir Fred. He says Sir Fred offered good advice and was also fair and firm as president of the Senate.
One of the things, sir, that we can say of Sir Fred Gallo is that he used his talents in such a manner as to ensure that he was able to give more than he received. He used his talents in such a manner that many Barbadians were able to benefit from his significant contribution.
Deputy President of the Senate Rudolph Greenidge says Sir Fred loved reading and journalism. He remembers him as a man who respected confidentiality. He says Sir Fred also possessed one of the best brains.
A man who had some of the most brilliant ideas, but looking at him, watching him, you would never know. And yet when this man opened his mouth to speak, you had to listen, because he was enlightening, he was very informative, and he was extremely erudite. So just as you have done, Senator Walcott, I too, on behalf of the entire Senate, would want to extend our sympathy to his family.
And the President of the Senate, Sir Richard Cheltenham, remembers Sir Fred as a dedicated family man and one who was immensely disciplined. He says Sir Fred, though being full of ideas, preferred to work from the background rather than be a candidate. And overall, he says the former Senate President was a team player.
Would have resisted the compliments insofar as we are signaling him out. Fred was a team player, and that must never be forgotten. He made a large and immense contribution, but he worked with a team. And perhaps this is not the place to acknowledge the contribution, large contribution made by members of the team, but Fred was a foremost team player.
In her tribute, Minister of Information, Broadcasting and Public Affairs, Senator Lucille Moore, says Sir Fred Gallo made an invaluable contribution to journalism. She says Sir Fred was a leader and media practitioners should follow his example in maintaining the standards of the profession.
He tried to lead in a manner to show the level of ethics and integrity that journalists need to follow in order to ensure that the standard that we would all like to see upheld continues. And Sir Fred certainly was a leader in that area. His time as chairman of the OCM group clearly showed how sound management, good sound ethical skills will allow for an entity to grow and to develop.
Extremely tough and never a good thing. This is how Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Senator Dr. Jerome Walcott, has described the upcoming layoffs of public sector workers. Senator Walcott was speaking in the Upper House during debate on the Debt Holder Approval of Debt Restructuring Bill 2018, which followed the tributes to Sir Fred Gallo. He says while the layoffs will be hard on those affected, they could not be avoided as Barbados continues to journey to economic recovery.
Indeed, if we've entered into a program with the IMF where we get support, and we see this as a beacon of hope for the bilateral institutions in terms of investors and stuff like this, for us to move forward, I think we have to be very careful that we adhere and we meet these targets so that we can say in 18 months or so that Barbados has turned. We've made a turn in terms of our economic and financial situation.
Opposition Senator Caswell Franklin is tonight charging that government is violating the constitutional rights of Barbadians with the proposed debt restructuring bill. Mr. Franklin maintains government is unilaterally taking away the rights of citizens under the guise of necessity.
If one fella says, I want my money when it comes due, you're supposed to give them. There is no law in place that you can do that. The only law that will allow you to do that is an amendment to the Constitution, and you are not amending the Constitution. I dare say, sir, I don't know why you don't want to amend the Constitution, because this is the only way you can achieve this, you know. Legally achieve it. But because you have a majority of 29 people in the lower house, you believe you can get away and do anything you want.
Government is trying to break the cycle leading to growing levels of obesity in Barbados, especially among children, and is getting help from the world's premier food and agriculture organization. Sharika Griffith reports.
You right now are on a route to a disaster.
This sobering message from Assistant Director General of the Food and Agriculture Organization, Dr. Julio Berdegue. He says as tourism became the main foreign exchange earner, the country more or less turned its back on agriculture.
You lose the opportunity to create employment for young people in your country. And to complicate matters even more, the food that you're producing, a lot of it is quite unhealthy food. So in Barbados, like in other Caribbean countries, you have a tremendous epidemic of overweight and obesity, which leads to diabetes, to heart disease, to high blood pressure, to different forms of cancer. And this has become today the leading cause of death among your population.
And following talks with Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley and other members of cabinet, the FAO has agreed to provide government with technical assistance and help to mobilize funds to develop innovative projects to begin addressing these issues. That assistance could start in a matter of weeks. Dr. Berdegue says he's particularly interested in the school meals which are prepared daily for the roughly 26,000 primary school students.
The important thing is that we give them healthy foods, not just any food. And we're trying to see how we can link these school feeding programs with locally produced healthy foods. This is something which FAO is working with governments of 13 other countries to do, and it's quite a successful program. We're trying to see if we can make that happen.
He also suggests introducing laws which require producers to clearly print the amount of fats and salt, for example, on the front of their products. There's also to be a major push to get people back to farming, but with newer techniques.
We need to bring a modern form of agriculture. Smallholders armed with technology, armed with apps and internet and communications and good marketing and good skills that can really make a business, a good business, out of producing healthy food for your own people and perhaps, for others outside of Barbados.
Barbados imports more than $300 million worth of food each year. Sharika Griffith, CBC News.
Well, in the coming weeks, the public and other stakeholders in the local cruise industry will have the opportunity to make an input in the development of that sector. That's because the National Cruise Development Commission will be hosting a series of town hall meetings. The first one is scheduled for Monday, October 29th, and the Commission's chair, Errol Humphrey, says the contribution can help Barbados earn more in that sector.
The cruise sector is important for Barbados, generating over $71 million net in foreign exchange earnings last year. And we are working to increase this amount significantly in the next few years. As new operators enter the market, and Barbados' product offerings are diversified, our heritage and culture are more effectively promoted, and both the physical and business environments are improved.
Efforts are being made to ensure young people can secure future jobs in the cruise industry. Delivering a speech on behalf of Tourism Minister Carrie Simmons, Acting Chief Executive Officer of the Barbados Tourism Product Authority, Marcia Allen, announced talks are underway with a reputable cruise line.
He has commenced discussions with the Carnival Cruise Lines and is exploring the opportunity of working with a maritime training school to deepen our working relationships with cruise lines so as to build out a tertiary education component to cruise-related activities. These will include maritime training to prepare our young people for job opportunities in areas such as naval architecture and marine surveillance, ship engineering and maintenance, ship master training, and the development of necessary skills to fit posts such as pursers, cruise operations management, cruise directors, guest relations management. In other words, the full range of opportunities provided in the cruise experience.
The comments came at a prize-giving ceremony for the 2018 Florida Caribbean Cruise Association essay and poster competitions. 12 primary and secondary school students collected their awards for their contributions. Among them, junior essay winner Aria Brooms and senior essay winner Kaya Knight, both of whom suggested that cruise tourists should experience local culinary delights as part of the island's culture.
In my opinion, the best way to get a good taste of Barbados is to visit a household where traditional dishes are passed down through the generations. Foods like bakes, brown, gravy made with tuna, sardines, mackerel, and a favorite of mine, 1, 2, 3, which is made with macaroni, potatoes, and corned beef. These are comfort foods that my mother says takes her back to the old-time days.
Visitors can try a refreshing rum punch or have a tall glass of our traditional mabi or sorrel, or other refreshing homemade juices like soursop, gouda apple, and ginger beer. A ham cutter to go with those beverages or some freshly fried fish cakes hot from the pan will light the taste buds on fire. Even some cuckoo and flying fish, our national dish.
As Barbados gets ready to celebrate its 52nd year of independence, one local activist is on a mission to build community spirit. Organizer of the Silver Sands Pre-Independence All-Day Community and Block Festival, Terry Toyan Bino, has issued an open invitation to everyone to come out and take part on November 17th. The community activist says not only will the festival fill a void, it will also bring economic benefits to the people.
Nothing don't really happen at all within the community. And I think that this will uplift the community, and not only Silver Sands community, it will bring other people from other communities because there's a block thing also. So actually what we're doing here, we're bringing other people from all three blocks, to come and join hands with us and join into the festival and make it a huge, big festival in Silver Sands. A lot of people will benefit from it because it will create employment for actually about 150 people because we will have installed spaces and so on so that people can sell drinks and food and stuff like that there.
Well, three-hand dominoes, road tennis and drafts competitions are only a small part of what the festival will offer. Mr. Bino says the initiative has received support from MP for Christchurch East, Wilfred Abrams, but he's also calling for support from businesses and other entities to help make the festival a success, as well as to give it longevity.
As a festival with a difference. A lot of festivals, is just fine getting some drinks and food, but this festival is something that's different to all the rest of the festival. I think that this festival will make it big. Once the sponsors come on board, it will be very successful and something that we like to do annually, not just a one-off event.
With youth unemployment continuing to be extremely high across the globe, secondary school students are being encouraged to develop their soft skills when seeking jobs. They've been getting some useful pointers at the World of Work showcase at the Frank Cullimore Hall. Rianne Phillips tells us more.
Labour Minister Colin Jordan reminded the students their qualities will be just as important as qualifications when hunting for jobs.
Employers are looking for persons who have what are called soft skills. Persons who can get along with others. Persons who are able to work in teams and with teams. People who have empathy.
This year, students from over 11 schools attended the World of Work Showcase. Many of them found the sessions to be quite useful.
So far it has been a very educational and interesting showcase so far.
It has been very educational. I took notes so that I could go home and review and get ready for my interview.
It's been good. I really enjoyed it actually. And I've liked all the stuff that people, I like all the stuff that people told me and everything. I've been listening and taking notes and everything like that.
And the organizers are pleased with the increased support from the business community.
We have had significant support from the corporate community, and we're very grateful. Today we have had 4 job attachments for our students. Duty Free Caribbean Limited, Caribbean Catalyst. We've had the Barbados Employers Confederation coming on board as well, and we are very grateful for this.
The showcase also included displays from small and large businesses. Rianne Phillips, CBC News.